If it's not clear to you by now through treasonous legislative works like the NDAA and the Patriot Acts, and through the freedom-stripping, intrusive alphabet soup agencies like the DEA, FBI, IRS, NSA, and the TSA, that those in government desire your harm, you haven't been paying attention. And for those of you who continue to slumber in your complacency, who persist in consuming government-driven media and entertainment programming, and refuse to learn the obvious lessons of history's grim tales of forced government incarceration of its own citizens, and the brutal murders by tyrants of their unsuspecting and trusting constituents, this video will easily provide you with the documentation you'll need to do your own research and come to the sound conclusion that there's a master plan that includes the incarceration of you, your family, and anyone who would dare expose the evils of those who inhabit Washington's District of Criminals. This is Executive Order 13603. It's part of the Federal Register, Volume 77, Number 56, Title III, which Barack Hussein Obama signed on March 16, 2012. It's part of the National Defense Resources Preparedness Act, also known as the NDRP. In it, Obama unbelievably and ironically authorizes and institutes a provision for slavery. Subsection 502 states, "The head of each agency otherwise delegated functions under this order is delegated the authority of the President under sections 710B and C of the Act to employ persons of outstanding experience and ability without compensation and to employ experts, consultants, or organizations." There's nothing in this document which defines, quote, outstanding experience and ability. If Obama or one of his appointed representatives decides that you are the individual which exhibits, quote, outstanding experience and ability, you will be recruited by the government to serve them without compensation. Last I checked, the most viable definition of uncompensated labor is slavery. So we have a choice today. Are we going to stand idly by and let our families and countrymen be conscripted, imprisoned, and killed by the criminals in high places? And if you still think this video is created by a paranoid, tinfoil hat-wearing conspiracy theorist, then you should probably take a look at the leaked government document entitled FM 3-39.40, Internment and Resettlement Operations. This 326-page military document signed by Joyce E. Morrow, Administrative Assistant to the Secretary of the Military, outlines military procedures for internment and resettlement of civilians, and it describes the layout and the administration of these internment camps. It clearly states on page 38 that it applies within U.S. territories and specifically addresses the detainment of U.S. citizens as is indicated by the identification procedures for new prisoners on page 146, which states that social security numbers are to be recorded alongside their photograph and fingerprints. Included in the list of organizations which may be involved in these internment operations are the Department of Homeland Security, FEMA, the Department of Defense, and the United Nations. On page 56, the document outlines the responsibilities of psychological operations officers within the camps, among which it states that the PSYOPs officers develop and execute indoctrination programs to reduce or remove antagonistic attitudes and identifies political activists. On page 281, the document goes into more detail regarding the roles of psychological operations within the camp, specifically in regards to pacifying the population and ensuring cooperation. On page 238, it gives the conditions for the use of deadly force in such camps. Among the justifications for lethal force, it includes to terminate an active escape attempt. That point right there should make it clear that these camps are not benevolent disaster relief type facilities. On page 244, the document calls for the use of snipers during riots to, quote, scan a crowd and identify agitators and riot leaders for apprehension and fire lethal rounds if warranted. On page 260, it shows the basic layout for a facility focused on detainment. It's depicted with interrogation areas, tribunal areas, and mortuaries. On page 261, the document depicts the layout for what they call civilian or resettlement facilities, which are designed to keep 8,000 people. Though it uses the word resettlement, the plans show multiple levels of barbed wire dividing the sections of the facility, with double barbed wire fencing on the outside, as well as 16 guard towers. On page 262, the layout for the facility is designed for what they call non-compliant prisoners. These camps are designed to hold up to 300 prisoners. They have 3 interrogation centers and are guarded by 13 guard towers. Now, if there's any question whether these plans are active or just theoretical, this should be settled by the fact that the U.S. Army has been running ads for job positions in these camps since 2009, and apparently they're still hiring. You can verify all of this information in the links below. Now, it's important to note here that this document was created in 2010, which was under the Obama administration, and it predates the NDAA of 2012, which authorized the military detainment of U.S. citizens without charge or trial. This clearly shows that there is at work a long-term agenda.
Guys, thank you so much for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and share it on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to see more videos like this, click that big red subscribe button down there, and as soon as I upload a video, you'll be one of the first to see it. If you want to support this channel, pick up one of these hard-hitting, conversation-starting shirts. You'll find the link in the description below, along with a plethora of other hard-hitting, high-impact designs. Remember, guys, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance, and indifference to this notion is the means by which the people will secure their own oppression. Let's stop securing our own oppression, and let's start today. I'll see you guys in the next video.